It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us on The Sam Lesante Show. Folks, this is a great show for you. Now, let me ask you two questions. Number one, do you like animals? Well, if you like animals, you're going to love this show. And how about cooking? You like to cook and you like food? You're going to love this show also because we have two great things to talk to you about. I have on the phone, via phone, he's in California. His name is Martin Merianos. And Martin wrote this book called Harry Pawter, and we're going to put it up there. You'll see it's Pawter, and The Golden Spoon. We'll get to that book in a second. It's a fascinating book. But anyway, folks, I encourage you to go to his website, educationalwildlife.org. That's educationalwildlife.org, and you'll learn a lot more about what this show is all about. That's interesting because, Martin, well, first of all, thanks for coming on the Sam Lesante Show.
Hey, nice of you to have me on your show, Sam.
Tell our viewers a little about yourself, okay, and what you do.
I started taking pictures in high school for 4 years. I studied photography in high school for 4 years, and so after I got out of high school, after high school, I started doing freelance photography. Now I used to take pictures of food, like real estate houses. I worked in a restaurant business. I was a prep cook in a lot of restaurants, so I used to prep food all the time. One day I was watching Good Eats. The TV show Good Eats. Food Channel is my favorite channel to watch. There's different kinds. They travel around the world, see different kind of foods. But I was watching Good Eats, and first time I saw it was really funny, and it gave me an idea to make a book. So I decided to do something like that. I decided to make a cookbook with humor in it. It was my first book. My first book ever published was Martha Cooks in Prison. That was my first book I ever published. When Martha Stewart spent time in prison. And that was my first book. Now I got my new book now. It's called Harry Pawter and a Golden Spoon. It's a spoof on Harry Potter movies. It was 8 movies of a Harry Potter. And you have some of it's different scenes of each movie.
Now, when it says that you've been diving, okay, and
yes,
you've been diving
since I was. Yes, Sam. I've been scuba diving since I was 15 years old.
And how does that play?
Close to.
How does that play in with your wildlife?
Oh yes, I dive off California. There's a lot of fish. Every time I go down, there's a new experience every time I go underwater. There's new fish you see. Most amazing thing I ever seen before in my entire life was a 6-gill shark. That was about 10 years ago. Me and my friend was diving about 80 feet of water. We saw a 6-gill shark. It was about 12 feet long.
Were you nervous?
I was very nervous. I was starting a little bit shaky, a little bit, but I was not really scared, but I was really thrilled to see something that big swimming by you. The thrilling thing I ever seen, I saw a gray whale. We're coming back to the boat underwater, and we had 2 whales swim right by us. That was the biggest thrill of my life, seeing a whale. We're going.
That's a challenge out there. 5,000 dives you've had, probably more now, but it says here 5,000 dives, and you've been filming underwater since, as you said, since 1978.
I think everybody should know about the ocean. Everybody should know about what's inside the ocean too. And I think children should experience wildlife everywhere. And that's why I support the zoos. I think they should go to the zoo, at least in the schools, have trips at least once a year in schools to go to the zoos. Mm-hmm. I always want to be a teacher too, but this is a way I can be a teacher also in film too and do my documentaries. The current documentary I'm working on now called Island of Foxes. It's off Santa Barbara Island. On my website, you can see about 3 videos.
Yes, I encourage folks, if you just tuned in, I'm talking to Martin Merianos, who wrote the book, and we're going to talk about that book after the break, Harry Pawter and the Golden Spoon. It's quite interesting. I highly recommend, if you love animals, go to educationalwildlife.org. We'll be back right after this message. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, SSPTV.com. You get to watch all of our shows. Now, once again, let me review with people who are maybe watching in Hazleton, have friends in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, or Pottsville, or the various areas. We're on 4 systems, folks. Comcast 190 in Pottsville. It's on every day. Up here in the greater Hazleton area, we're on channel 13 and our HD channel 513, and we're on every day. In Wilkes-Barre, it's channel 92, and we're on Saturday and Sunday evenings from 7 to 11 p.m. In the Lackawanna County, we're on Comcast 190, and that's Saturdays and Sunday mornings. I want to say, I want to thank a lot of those people who have been watching our shows. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Folks, don't forget our app. Many people have told me about the app. When you go to our app, you're going to find out it's fantastic because there's a lot of health shows on it, a lot of informational shows, my shows on it, the girls' shows, tons of things are on it. Search SSP TV. My guest is Martin Merianos, and he wrote the book called Harry Pawter, Pawter, and the Golden Spoon. We're going to talk about that, but meanwhile, he's very much involved in educating people about wildlife. His organization is called Educational Wildlife Foundation, but however, his website, highly recommend you going to it. It's educationalwildlife.org. Martin, let's pick up from this. You're talking about educating people, and your current project is Channel Island Foxes, which is on your website. Let's talk about why you got involved with that.
It's this. I like to camp, and if you go camping there at the islands, there's foxes all over. On Santa Cruz Island, there's 1,500 foxes on one island. It's unbelievable. They're all over, and basically, 10% of their food is from people, and the rest of it they eat a lot of bugs, cockroaches, everything they can eat. The other things they can eat, they eat berries, figs. There's figs on the island. There's about 150 years ago, people settled there on the island and start raising sheep, and they planted a lot of trees there. And there's about 10 trees over there are fig trees. There's fig trees about 125 years old each. So they're really huge, and you see the foxes climbing the trees all the time, eating figs. I'm going to be filming the foxes in March and April, and they'll be having their babies in April, and they'll go out in the nice sunny weather around April and look for food for their babies.
Now, is this dangerous still, Martin, to do this?
Oh, no, it's very safe. The biggest animal on the Santa Cruz Island is a fox.
Is
weigh
that
about
right?
4 pounds.
Yeah?
They only weigh about 4 pounds. They're really small.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of look like a cat some way in their face. They're very skinny in the face.
Folks, I'm talking to Martin Merianos, and he's the founder and president of the Educational Wildlife Foundation. It's interesting, very interesting to learn about, particularly if you're an animal lover. So, folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be back and talk more about Martin Meriano. But interesting enough, the book you wrote, and all the proceeds from this book goes to the foundation to preserve our wildlife, and it's an interesting story. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Great show today. I have Martin Merianos, folks, on the phone in California. He wrote the book Harry Pawter and the Golden Spoon. It's right up there. But he's also the founder and president of the Educational Wildlife Foundation. His website, highly recommend you go to it, educationalwildlife.org. It's on the screen. Martin, once again, thanks for coming on the Sam Lesante Show. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Sam, very much. Thank you. I can be on your show.
Well, listen, I want to talk now about this book, which I found fascinating. Okay, so you wrote a few books, right? What was the first book you wrote, you said?
Well, my first book was Martha Cooks in Prison. At the time, I was a prep cook, and I was taking pictures for a little extra money, and I was watching the Good Eats show, and they brought humor and food together. So I'd never seen that before. So I said, hey, that's a good idea. I think I'm going to make a book.
Yeah.
So my first book is called Martha Cooks in Prison. When Martha Stewart's been in prison for 6 months, I decided to make a cookbook, a joke cookbook about Martha Stewart. So in the first pages of the book, I have she's with her inmate is a chicken on death row. She handpicked her. The chicken is on death row for handpicking her husband to death.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a little jail suit. It comes with a little jail. The chicken has a little jail suit. Sitting on the bed with Martha lookalike on the bed. So I got some strange recipes there too. I have some.
Well, okay. Now, this book that we're showing the public, Harry Potter and the Golden Spoon. How did you start this particular book? I mean, what was your foundation on this?
I was looking for something I can do. It's very popular, and I was thinking, gee, what's really popular right now? I said, there's going to be a series of movies about Harry Potter, so that'd be a great idea to do a cookbook, a spoof on Harry Potter. And I said, okay, I was just trying to think different ideas for the book. So one idea was really funny, and I just have 2 kids, and one kid is in a chicken suit, and one kid is in a turkey suit, and they're boxing each other with boxing gloves.
Yes.
And Harry Potter is he's a referee for the fight between the chicken and turkey. And this was shot in a real boxing ring. So you can see the first couple pages. It's a real boxing ring. So we actually went to a boxing ring and took the pictures at the boxing ring. And also, what happens in the end is the turkey knocks the chicken out, and it's called knockout chicken soup. So
and that's on page 4. Yeah, go ahead.
It's in the front of page of the book after you see the turkey knocks the chicken out.
Right, yeah.
And that's a knockout chicken soup. So I had to think outside the box, really stupid. I tried to think stupid and funny at the same time. That was my whole goal of this book. And it's really pretty funny. I had some great funny. I have
no, wait, let's stay on this Harry's knockout chicken soup, which is on page 4. Now you have a recipe here, okay? Are these real recipes?
Yes.
Are these real recipes?
Oh yes, they're all real recipes. Every page is a real recipe. We have great cartoons in here of the chicken.
I see. You have the ingredients, then you have the directions as how to make it, which I think is fabulous.
Oh, thank you very much.
Harry's, it's Hairy, folks, as you can see. Then we move on to the barbecue chicken pizza. So how do you get all these creative ideas?
What I did is I hired a professional chef with me. So I had to show. I hired a professional chef to help me do the recipes. But most of them, they're all my recipes. But I have to show it in order for detail of cooking something. I'm not really good at doing that, so I hired somebody to help me do the detail for each page for cooking the chicken, and also different recipes in the book. So I wanted to make sure everything was done right, very professionally done. So I want people to really enjoy the recipes and everything. So I hired a professional chef to help me make some of the recipes. A lot of the recipes are my ideas, but we worked together to make the book out the best way as possible for the children who can read it and understand it.
Well, now Harry, the Harry's knockout chicken soup. Have you tasted your own soup? Have you tasted these recipes?
Oh yes, we actually made the soup before. Most of these recipes we've made before. We had to make sure everything came out right.
Oh, you're fabulous.
So we had to go deep. Okay. We had to, because we make sure everything comes out right and all the recipes and the directions comes together.
Okay. Now, how about this? On page 8, you have crunchy dragon wings, and there's a picture there with this young boy. Who is this boy that you're?
He's my Harry Potter lookalike.
Yeah, he
looks like Harry Potter.
Yes,
doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he does.
Who's the guy with the wig on?
Beard.
Yeah.
Okay, he's supposed to be Hager. in the movie. There's Hager.
Yeah.
He's a really tall guy.
Yeah.
And there's Hager's right here. Is eating a drumstick with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So they're well, I don't think there's no crunchy dragon wings. There's actually those no dragon wings, but it's basically chicken wings.
Now you have bat wings. Okay.
Yes, bat wings.
They're actually chicken wings, right?
Yeah, we had to make something funny about it. They have a funny cartoon there.
Yeah.
You see the Harry Potter cartoon is he's cooking a bat over the fire. It's pretty funny.
That is funny. Now the golden eggs. This is what's the story about the golden eggs? What is?
Basically, it's what's it called? Devil eggs.
Devil eggs.
It's basically a devil egg, but we call it the golden egg.
All right.
That was the same. It's the same recipe, but we have a chicken. Harry Potter's getting the chicken egg from a giant chicken.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make golden eggs out of it.
What I really enjoy about this, if you want to attempt these, folks, I mean, the directions are so simple. For example, on the golden eggs, carefully drop the eggs into a saucepan of simmering water one at a time. Simmer for 7 minutes. Turn off the heat, but leave the. I mean, everything is in detail. Then we come to the cheese smells. Cheese spells.
Cheese spells.
That's grilled cheese with green apples.
Yes, and you see a picture there of a rat. It's a real rat. What we did is slide the rat through the back of the hole of the hood, and I put the glasses on him, and I had my camera ready.
Fabulous.
And that's a real rat. That's supposed to be Harry Potter the rat.
Oh my! Well, wait a minute. People get a little turned off. I hate rats, but I mean the.
It's a rat eating cheese.
Yeah. Now here's we come the eyeball dumplings, which is the eyeball Italian dumplings in sauce. Now we're talking my language here.
Okay. Well, I can't tell you the story about this one. I found on the clearance table at Home Depot after Halloween, they had these giant eyeballs for Halloween.
Yeah.
They were eyeballs with lights inside,
I know
Christmas lights.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, we've seen them.
Then I decided I'm going to make something out of this, so I decided we'd make some dumpling eyeballs. Look like I had to think something. I had to think really stupid, really goofy.
Well,
that was my goal.
Now, of course, as we go, we have baby Pawter, pumpkin apple baby food. We have pumpkin juice smoothies. But you can see how.
Oh yes.
How you
actually I went to on the juice one. I went to a book show, and I actually passed that out at the book show. It was at L.A. Convention Center. And I was passing samples out. Yeah. Also, when I was at the book show, I met Brooke Shields.
Oh, good.
So she was right by the booth. She had a new book coming out, so I said hello to her, and she was really sweet lady.
Folks, the book. I'm sorry, Martin. I just want to tell the folks how could they get this book?
You can go to my website, educationalwildlife.org. Or you can go to Amazon. You can order from your local bookstore. Any bookstore can order it for you, or you can go online and order online.
Well, you know what, Martin? I appreciate you coming on the show. Time goes by so fast, folks. There's a lot of great other ones. There's chocolate candy. There's pizza hot dogs. There's bacon and cheese, little piece. Elvis Potter sandwich. That's interesting. There's a ton of things. Now, Martin Merianos, okay, folks, is a career in freelance photography. He began in high school where he studied underwater. He's done over 5,000 dives so far, and he's strictly really pushing to preserve our wildlife. And Martin, I'm sorry, time goes by so fast. I know you're in sunny California. I appreciate you coming on the Sam Lesante Show.
All right, thanks, Sam, for being on your show. I appreciate it very much.
Folks,
thanks for the time.
My pleasure. Folks, remember, 24/7, you can watch any of us on our website, folks, ssptv.com. We'll see you next time.